I am Curran Bhatia, joined by professional golfer Audra Kepler, and also joined by Luke Ketelle. We are talking about the world of golf, of course, and we just came off of the exciting finish at the Valspar Championship. Sam Burns defeated rookie Davis Riley. Burns sunk the birdie putt. It was just outside 30 feet. They've actually been longtime friends, him and Riley. It was definitely exciting. Burns gets his third PGA Tour win. He was able to close the show. He now moves up to 10th in the world rankings, which is very impressive, knocking DJ off the list, or at least the top 10, I should say. So, Luke, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the exciting finish there at the Valspar?
I mean, what's cool is he went back to back. You know, Paul, I believe that we've had two back-to-back winners of the Valspar. Paul Casey won in 19 and 20, and then I think Sam Burns 21-22. It's kind of cool. Also, Paul Casey, Sam Burns, they're not guys that I traditionally think of guys that overpower a golf course. Sam Burns reminds me of like Webb Simpson. When his putter is on, he's really playing well, and then he has like spurts where he's completely not in television coverage at all. He's a great player who is a collegiate like player of the year, I believe. And when he has it on, it's hard to see guys beating him. I think what's impressive to me is he fended off JT, playing with JT. Davis Riley and Nesmith. I followed Nesmith at TPC Stonebrae on a Corn Ferry event when he lost to Zach Blair. Really, really good player. One of the best approach players I've ever seen in person in the Corn Ferry and TV golf in general. But what impressed me was Sam Burns is now starting to jump into that tier of golfer that we think could win a major. And with Augusta coming up soon, that it seems like he's very good at these Southeastern golf courses. And you have to think if like a PGA Championship or a US Open or even Augusta happens, all it takes is really 2 rounds of him to putt well for him to be in contention to do very good at one of these big tournaments.
Absolutely. And Audra, I want to get your thoughts, but let me also throw in another question there as well. So let's make it a two-parter here. This one went to a playoff, and this time it worked, right? 2-hole playoff. It was sudden death. It was a long putt that sunk. It was exciting. But the question is, how should we handle playoffs in golf, right? There's different formats. Sometimes it's 4 holes, sometimes sudden death, sometimes it can be a full 18. Should we make it uniform, or should they try something really totally different? Should it be like in soccer where there's like a penalty shootout, like closest to the pin? What are your thoughts on the way the Valspar finishes and on playoffs in golf?
I thought the finish was pretty exciting. Unfortunately, I wasn't watching. I was playing golf yesterday, but I watched the day before, and I was really pumped for Riley because he shot a 62 on the 3rd round, which speaks volumes playing with JT that round. So that was pretty exciting, and I was kind of rooting for Riley too to get his first PGA win, and I think this is his rookie season, so. He's got a lot of confidence, which is awesome. And so like I was kind of rooting for him for a playoff feel. I mean, that'd be pretty cool to like have like close to the pin, like on the hardest par 3 or like the highest scoring average on a hole where like, okay, who can make the lowest score on the hardest hole in the course, or have a par 3 challenge where whoever hits it closer wins. But I kind of like the sudden death feel of like, you know, every shot counts like in golf. So in the playoff, it matters that much more when you hit the shot, when everything's on the line. So that's my answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like the sudden death feel. It also adds, of course, the skill element in there. For example, in soccer, when it does go to a penalty shootout, that's after the overtime periods, right? You don't want to go to that right away. Maybe if it's been 18 holes and they still haven't figured it out, or 18 holes and some extra sudden death. But it's just something interesting to think about. Luke, your thoughts on any ways to improve playoffs in golf?
Let's get the signature golf hole involved in the playoff. If it's sawgrass, let's be sure to have the island green. If we're playing Valspar, Innisbrook, what gets us to the dance? It's the snake pit. Play all 3 holes in the snake pit. Whatever is iconic about the course, let's make sure we get the iconic. If there's a playoff in the Masters, we want to see Amen's Corner. Let's go through these great set of holes we love so much, and let's make that. I don't think we need to change the format. Let's just play the holes we love.
I think that's brilliant. And I think in the game of golf, just to grow the game even more, we want to do storytelling the best we can in terms of players and their backgrounds. And to your point, And I think this would be a great idea going forward. Storytell for holes, courses, history, right? What's the history of this hole? Why is it exciting? And let's bring those stories to life. So that brings me to my next topic here. Live Golf, it's a new entity. They're trying to disrupt the world of golf. Now, in one way, they want to ideally work with the PGA Tour. They're not trying to necessarily be a competitor, right? If you look at the dates and the things they're trying to do, they want players who can play both in an ideal world. We'll see what happens with that. I personally think competition is a great thing. I think the mission to grow the game of golf in new, exciting ways is excellent. Live Golf, if you look at what they're trying to do, there's going to be shotgun starts. There's going to be 54 holes. There's going to be team play. I think this is all great stuff for the game of golf, and I hope it comes together. So Audra, I'll start with you. What do you think about a new entity coming into golf and trying to shake things up a little bit?
I think it's exciting for golf, especially where it's located in the country. It's something really different and new. And like you said, like it brings more people to the game and just a new excitement. So I'm not against it, but I think some of the ways they are going about it isn't particularly like the known golf way, but I think it's a good thing for golf.
Moving on to the next topic. We have a lot of great young players in the game of golf right now. It's really exciting time. So I'm going to ask you guys who you think is the most exciting up and coming player who's going to have success in the next 5, 10, 15 years. I'm going to give you my answer real quick, and then I want to hear what you guys have to think. My answer may sound a little biased because we actually have the same last name. We're not related. That's Akshay Bhatia. And I don't know if you guys have followed his career that much. He's 20 years old. He's a really hard worker. He's already had 4 pro wins. And Phil Mickelson has taken him under his wing a little bit, and it seems like the future is bright. And I say that the biggest reason is because you can see the work ethic there, and you can see the work that a young player puts in, and you can say, oh, this guy is going to be someone special one day. That's my pick. Luke, over to you. Who do you think is someone that we should look out for in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, first, as a good promoter, let me sell your pick. Like, he was the world number 1. I believe he was a George Gankus coached golfer. So that's always a big deal, right? Matthew Wolff was like the stud of the college, and I think he worked with him and all that. He's exciting, and he won early in the Korn Ferry. Now, if you're asking me, I can go many different ways, right? I could go obscure, but I think the guy that I'm really, really looking at, I'm going to be biased. We're going nationality. Victor Hovland. I'm Norwegian. My guy, Javi. I'm waiting for him to be somewhere where I live in a major, and he's contending so I can take a Norwegian flag and hang it around my shoulders and walk each and every hole with Hovland. That's a life goal. I want to carry the Norwegian flag and just be there as a hype man for Hovland. I think Hovland has a lot of the elements Rory McIlroy has in terms of ball striking. He just literally feels like a legend. He feels to me like an Arnold Palmer, like a Jack Nicklaus. He just stands out to me, even though he hasn't even won in America. He's won in Mexico. He's won in Puerto Rico. He's won in Europe. He feels like he's trending to be an all-time great. And I'm excited. He kind of fills my Ricky void because I was a big Ricky fan. I'm going Ricky, Bryson, probably Hovland after my boy Bryson.
I love it. And Audra, I'll throw it over to you. Best up and coming player. And feel free to say Audra Kepler if you'd like. No problem at all. But what do you think? Who's the next up and coming golfer?
I think Cam Young. He did really well at the Genesis Invitational. He's young, and I feel like he's got a lot of potential to play well, especially at Riviera, which is one of the harder courses of the year, not only of tee shot lines, but the greens are super hard and the whole course layout is really tough out there. So for him to be really close to Joaquin Niemann wire to wire was really exciting. So kind of rooting for him. And then one of my favorite other golfers is Kevin Kisner, who's knocking on the door. So I love that guy. I love his mentality on the course.
We mentioned it's a really fun time in golf. It's a lot of young players on the rise and a lot of great things happening in the game. Of course, a mainstay is the Masters. It's coming up. We're all looking forward to it, April 7th to 10th. And my question for you guys is, what makes Augusta so special, right? There's 4 majors. This is the only one where that is always played at the same venue. You can still get a sandwich for less than $3. We've seen so many magical moments there as well. And obviously everything Tiger Woods did in the last few decades to grow the game and the things he did there. It really does celebrate what golf is and what it's about. So Audra, let me start with you. What do you think makes the Masters so special?
I think it's just the history with like the three golfers. It's like Jack, Arnie, and then Gary Player. Like rest in peace, Arnold Palmer. But like just the inaugural like tee shot on the first hole. Like they just do every year. They do the same things every year. And like you said, like everything that you buy there for food and drinks, it's under $5-6. Like a beer there, I think is like $2.50 or something. Sweet tea is like $1.50. I mean, when we went, we literally got like 2 drinks, 2 sandwiches, chips, and moon pie, and it was under $20.
It's amazing. And as a professional golfer, how would you take on the course? How would you prepare for a course like that has so many stories and so much history behind it?
I don't know, to be honest. Like there hasn't been a ladies professional event there. I mean, they started the women's amateur event, which is really cool. They have the top 50 women amateur golfers in the world play at that tournament. So I think the ladies professional tour has never played a golf course like that before. I think with history involved, the Dinah Shore course of Dinah down in Palm Springs, like that had a lot of history, but then they moved over to Texas for their major. But I would say that course, or
what about Mission Hills?
That's the course. Yeah, Mission Hills. Yeah, the Dinah Shore course. But they changed it, so they're not going to do that tournament anymore.
And so Luke, let me ask you, Masters, it's so special. It's so exciting. Everyone looks forward to it. What do you think makes it so special? Is it the history or is it something else?
Well, I think for me personally, like Audra spent time on my birthday. We played golf together and we played Pasatiempo, which is the Mackenzie design. And I think that it's like some of these major venues for me, it's not just the history for me, it's the maintenance, it's the care, but it's also the architect, right? So Augusta, the way it looks on TV is the holes are guarded by bunkers. There's tons of elevation and change, but then there looks like there's VW bugs parked in the green. So it's like, it really rewards a great shot. You have to really understand your distance control. And that's what makes Pasatiempo in Northern California so interesting is it's really about, can you control your distance? Because simply getting on the green is not the reward you want. And when you get up to like, I think it's hole 15, which is the par 5, most guys have a simple iron into the par 5. But if you go long, you're going into water. There's water front, water back. Everything about this course is interesting. And one of my favorite golfers is Seve Ballesteros. And growing up watching Seve play this course, and he played it so untraditionally, like that long downhill par 4. I forget the number. I'm going to know it when they play it. Maybe it's like 11. And at Bandon Dunes, at Bandon Trails, they recreated kind of that hole, but they flipped it so the water's on the right instead of the left in the back 9 of Bandon Trails. And just seeing Seve hit a slice and then have to knock one out and then create magic to save par. What I love about the Masters is the United States Open is a great challenge at golf because you see just great shot making and great skill and great execution. At the Masters, you really see who can play because you have to control your distance and you have to have a great short game and chipping. And that's why I'd like to see like some of these great golfers like Audra Kepler or Brittany Yada be able to compete on a course like the Masters because it's just a special environment where the best players of an era come out and show themselves. And I hate to say it's a shame Zach Johnson won it. Because I feel like we would have, I kind of want more dynamic players winning my favorite major, but it's a special tournament, man. I saved 2 craft, very expensive beers for Masters Sunday, and I crack them open and I get some good food and I just sit here and plug in for 5 hours and I hope for a playoff. That's what the Masters means to me. That was probably too long of an answer, but that's what you get.
That was a great answer, man. And I love the personal touch. So let me move on to my final topic for our group discussion here. And we're talking about growing the game of golf. We mentioned Live Golf and all the great things that they're trying to do and new ways to experience the game. So the question is how we can continue to grow the game and get more fans and make golf even more exciting than it already is. And a couple ways that I look into it is I think we should lean into all the fun and excitement that you already see. So for example, the par 3 16th at TPC Scottsdale, right? You have the fans surrounding it. Everyone's into it, right? There's an appetite for that, right? Golf fans are sports fans, right? So we want to see them cheer and follow their favorite player. And we want to see more of that in the game of golf. There's also very unique properties and venues. And we were talking about this earlier in terms of unique holes. Of course, the 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass, right? That's fun. That's unique. It also really challenges the players, especially when there's wind, as we saw very recently. We mentioned Live Golf is trying a couple new different ways of having the game, team format, shotgun starts. You see everything developing at the same time. So there's definitely a bunch of different things that we can try. So let me ask you guys this. What is the best way to grow the game of golf, continue to build the game and get more fans?
I think, well, for one, like COVID definitely helped golf. A lot of people brought golf like back. It revived golf for sure. So with COVID, that helped bring golf exciting. And there's so many more people out playing golf. So I think, just getting those signature holes exciting. And I feel like that's already grown the game. And even at the Valspar, like there was a lot of people there, I feel, and they were probably not all of them golfers and probably want to get into golf. So I think it's still growing for sure.
Legend
Audra.
Legend Audra. Why did the PGA National not have as many fans? I feel like as few people on the tee sheet every week decided to go there. And why were the non-notable pros playing PGA National? Audra, can you break that down for me?
I think they weren't there because the players was coming up, and Bay Hill was the week before, right? Or was it the week after?
I'm going to say my hypothesis. It's really hard. Like, I think I'd shoot
hard.
like 110 at PGA National and cry, and then you'd have to give me a TV timeout like Cam Young swing.
It's almost like the players course. Like, it's a Pete Dye course for one, which
that
it
means
makes
it's not fun.
It's just very intimidating on every single hole. It's like, oh, water right, hazard left. It's like, where do I miss? Instead of focusing on like the smaller target of wherever you want to go. Yeah.
And so I know I said that was the last question, but let me do a bonus round here because we have such great golfers here and I want to get your take. So what do you think is something that the average golfer could do when they're practicing or playing to just improve their overall game that maybe they're not thinking about, right? Because if you look at a lot of average golfers, a lot of the times it's maybe you're trying to kill the ball and that can lead to bad things happening in your swing. That can lead to like an over the top type of situation. It might be not practicing the things that seem redundant, like sand shots or putting, or it might just be maybe focusing too much on one thing and having too many swing thoughts, right? So many people suffer with like a slice or a hook and then they just keep trying to overcompensate for that. And sometimes that makes it happen even worse. So Audra, you're a professional golfer. What would you recommend to the average player if they want to improve their game?
I would definitely spend more time on the putting and chipping green because you could shave a lot of strokes. At the highest level and wherever level you're at, you could always become a better short game. So like you could have like up and down games with your friends. Instead of spending an hour or two on the range, you could split that time in half and spend an hour chipping and putting and playing against a friend where you chip and then you putt that wherever you chip from, you got to putt to that hole. So I think that's really good practice. That's like a 2-in-1 practice. Like you're practicing putting along with your chipping. And you could also play with a friend. So, I mean, that's a double plus. But yeah, I would definitely spend more time with short game.
And I want to thank both of you guys so much for chatting with me. Audra Kepler, best of luck to you. Luke Ketelle, best of luck to you. And thank you so much for the time. Thanks for breaking it down, guys.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.